Hey, it's BB, and I'm not. I'm not even gonna try. No, I'm not gonna try. Yeah, if you couldn't tell already, my voice is not doing good right now. Throughout this past week, my allergies had been killing me. My nose has been stuffy and runny at the same time, which was something I didn't think was possible. Not to mention, my throat is killing me because of the amount of times I have been sneezing. I genuinely believe I might have come down with a cold. I don't know, but that is what I'm doing. So yeah, that's why I sound like this. I am literally recording this on my bed, just with a microphone in hand, feeling like absolute
shit. Oh, shit. Feeling like a saggy, massive sack of shit. Oh.
But I still am committed. I wanted to give you guys one more video for the month. And so what better way of me feeling like shit than talking about shitty people that happen to be in Just Dance. So this topic alone, you could say, has been talked about within this community, either via YouTube comments or Reddit or Tumblr or something, but it has been talked about within the community for years. But I never really see Just Dance YouTubers talk about this. And so I figured if I'm not doing the silly simulator videos with Just Dance coaches, I figured I might as well be the commentary channel with Just Dance stuff. So that is what I'm doing today. So I have chosen 5 artists in particular, all of whom have had either one map or more in Just Dance, and they have allegedly committed a crime or something. And yeah, I'll make this note. You'll notice how I will be saying the word allegedly quite often in this video. Even if they have committed said crime and actually have been proven guilty, I'm still playing it safe because I'm 20 years old. I don't want to get sued, so that is what I am doing, okay? So just keep that in note. But anyways, now that that's out of the way, while I'm still here feeling like shit, let's talk about some shitty people! Hooray!
We are my sisters. You spill the tea, sister. F y'all sisters, cause I'm not sisters. I'm the sister.
You wanna know something? Sometimes when I make these types of videos, I always look at the maps first, and then I add them later into the video. This is the first time ever in my life that I'm actually looking at Fine China, both the original and the extreme. Because even as a child, I never played them when I had JD 2014. I do like how that goes to show, even as a child, I chose to stay away from anything relating to Chris Brown because screw that guy. Look, I am constantly baffled today that Chris Brown managed to magically survive the whole Rihanna assault scandal back in 2009. I'm baffled today. Everyone was baffled then. We're all baffled today that this man is still having a career and people are still wanting to work with this man. So the fact that Just Dance is bringing back his maps to Just Dance Plus at least makes me think that these are the only times Chris Brown is ever going to be in Just Dance ever again. I don't think they'll add him back in like Just Dance 2026. At least we can hope that they don't, because again, screw that guy. Because what literally can I say about all of this that hasn't been said before? First of all, his victim was not an anonymous nobody. She was already a famous person with a well-loved personality and a great reputation ahead of her. So her being assaulted by this guy you think could have killed your career, but no, it's not. And it's not even just the Rihanna scandal that happened, okay? Like, it's not even just that. There was other stuff. He's been continuously abusive towards his relationships, and he's had so many drug problems. It's not even like a thing in the past because it's still happening. So, like, literally what? I look at these maps and I'm thinking, genuinely, how could anyone still, like, literally, choreo aside, everything is great. But I can't with the song. I literally can't. Fine China is probably the worst aged song ever throughout this list. It's so terrible. Now look, if you enjoyed playing Fine China or Fun, like, if you enjoyed playing those maps, like, hey, good for you. Like, as long as you're actually choosing to separate the art from the artist, if you're out here going, yeah, I love Chris Brown, this man has done no wrong, literally go Google everything wrong with Chris Brown, because there's just so much wrong. But yeah, I could also talk about the Dance Central songs, but really I'm not gonna count it. Those don't really count. I think this one might be the shortest one I will be talking about throughout this whole video because I think everyone else is gonna be pretty long. But yeah, it's just because what hasn't anyone not know about Chris Brown? This one's probably the most infamous one on the whole list, aside from the whole Sia thing and the recent Black Griffin stuff. But yeah, just putting out the obvious, screw Chris Brown, he sucks, and I hope Just Dance never ever adds more of his songs because, look, I'm all for separating art from the artist, but it depends on the art, and I think Chris Brown makes some pretty bad art, so I'm not gonna miss this guy. So yeah, screw Chris Brown.
3, 1, 2, 3, 3. Throw 'em back till I lose count.
Hi, it's me the next day. As you can tell, I did not have much more energy to continue on recording because I literally did not have that much energy to even sit in bed to record. I was really feeling bad, but here I am. It turns out it really was a cold, but hey, thanks to my mom for making me some tea, I took some cough drops and I am feeling a lot better now. So yeah, I took every cough drop at once and I'm feeling a-okay now. Until I remembered I needed to talk about Sia. Well, I was feeling good for a while, but yeah, let's talk about Sia for a bit. So, it is no secret at this point that my favorite map in all of Just Dance is She-Wolf, a song by David Guetta featuring Sia. And it's one of those maps that I have definitely said I separate the art from the artist because despite how I feel about Sia, I will not let all of that ruin my love for this map. And because I've said all of that, I have gotten people asking me what happened, what did Sia do? So here I am talking about it. Here's exactly what happened. In 2021, Sia had released a movie called Music, which follows along the character Music, who is a character with autism, and she's played by Maddie Ziegler, someone who is not autistic. And yeah, you can already imagine where this is going. Now, aside from obviously the poor casting choice of instead of not hiring a person with autism, everything else about this movie was fucking awful. I watched the movie. It was goddamn horrible. Not only was the portrayal seeming like a mockery towards autistic people, there is specific scenes in that movie that genuinely made me so uncomfortable to watch. There are two scenes that has Music's character start acting up and starting to have a breakdown, and in response to calm her down, they have her sister restrain her in order to calm her down, which is not only the worst response for that, but is also insanely dangerous to do. Because of that backlash, Sia said that she was gonna remove the restraint scenes and said that she was sorry, but as of today, they're not removed. They're still in the movie. They're still in the movie. Like, literally, how hard is it to remove a scene? Like, just cut it out of the movie. Like, okay. I'm gonna calm myself down a bit. Not only that, but when she was asked on why she wanted to work with Maddie instead of casting an actual autistic actor, Sia would say that she tried casting an autistic person for the role, but they were way too hard for her to work with. So yeah, Sia's a piece of shit when it came to autistic representation. So yeah, that was awful. Now, normally I was just gonna end it here. My script ended here, and I was gonna give you guys my thoughts on how I felt and how this affected my love towards these maps in Just Dance. Until when I was doing more research about this, I found this out recently. And get ready, because this was such a twist. In 2023, Sia would announce that she had actually been diagnosed officially with autism. And now this shines a different light into this. I mean, don't get me wrong, despite her diagnosis, it's still a shitty movie. It is still a terrible, awful movie. Originally, I was just gonna say, screw Sia. She was terrible with how she was towards this movie, how she is representing autistic people. But now I don't know. I truly don't know. I mean, I still don't see her the same way again, but I don't really know how to actually feel about this now. If you do want to know more about this, I will actually link this video from another creator who actually goes really well in depth about this whole thing, so I will link that in the description below. But that is so far all I now gotta say about this. I will say She-Wolf is still my favorite map in Just Dance, but as for everything else, I was still surprised that Just Dance is continuing to add Sia to their games. It still surprises me, but hey, I'm guessing that there are people in this community who choose to separate art from the artist. That's what I've done with She-Wolf, because look, I will refuse to dance to any other Sia songs except for She-Wolf, because that was my favorite map ever. But everything else, it's just so crazy to look back on. Like, it's just so I'm so conflicted on how to feel about this. But hey, what do you feel about Sia now? Let me know in the comments. But I feel like that's all I gotta put now. That's all I gotta say. If you want to know more, I will link the video in the description in case you're interested. But that's all I gotta say. And I guess screw Sia. I don't know. Let's just move on to the next person.
Why in the hell is my name Silentó? I'm the opposite. All I do is scream.
You know, despite everything of how I feel towards Black Griffin, which, don't worry, we're gonna get to him in a bit. Trust me. Regardless of how I feel, I will not judge Just Dance completely for adding Beep Beep I'm a Sheep to Just Dance Plus, okay? This was added way before the allegations came to light. They didn't know, and I think maybe they would have regretted it or something. I don't know, but I don't blame them, and I will not judge them for that decision. I am going to judge them because of their weird-ass decision for adding Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay into Just Dance Plus recently this month. Literally, why? Why? I could get to the fact, like, I'll get to Silentó in just a bit, but literally, who was the one person that actually asked for this? It was like, yeah, you know what I want? Like, all these songs in Just Dance Plus is really cool, but you know what I really want? I want the silly Watch Me Whip and Nay Nay with all those silly animals. Like, look, I can go for a silly map. I love silly maps. I can't with this though. I can never take this map so seriously, especially after with Silentó. Now, some of you might be wondering, what did Silentó do? What could he have possibly done that's so bad that's warranting him on this list? Well, let me tell you, a few years ago, Silentó got arrested and is still in jail today because he murdered his cousin. Note how I'm not even saying allegedly in this one, because it's not alleged. He actually did it. He was found guilty because he murdered his cousin. Let me say it one more time. He murdered his cousin. The reason why I'm getting so worked up about not using allegedly is because I saw someone on a community post. I don't remember who because I'm not subscribed to the person or anything, but they were talking about Watch Me Whip and Nay Nay getting added to Plus, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, this drop was all right, but you know, Watch Me Whip and Nay Nay sucks given the allegations of Silentó, and I'm over here looking like, what allegations? He murdered somebody! I'm literally baffled. I was so baffled when I saw that drop, because like I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool, they added That's Not My Name. I never played this one, and then I saw that and I'm like, who the fuck asked for Watch Me Whip and Nay Nay? I never played it because one, I hated the Watch Me Whip and Nay Nay trend. Secondly, now looking back, I'm like, who's gonna take this the same way ever again? Who will look at this or listen to this song genuinely the same way ever again, knowing that the man who sang this song is in jail because he murdered his cousin? You know something, I really do regret having him in the middle of this list because I'm gonna let this be known. Out of everyone we will be talking about here, he is the only person on this list that's actually killed somebody and is still in jail for it. Like, he killed somebody. Everyone else didn't, but he killed somebody. Really let that sink in. And it had to be the guy who's saying, "Watch me whip, watch me nay nay." I can't let, like, literally let that sink in. All right, we're officially gonna move on, but before we do, I do want to ask one question to my fellow viewers. Which Silentó do you think is worse? The real one, because of everything, or the one in the Bart Baker parody that turns out was actually just Jared Fogle in disguise? And if you don't know who Jared Fogle is, God bless you, don't Google him. We're not ready for that discussion yet, but yeah, which is worse? Let's move on now.
I guess I'm just a play date to you.
Well, guys, this one is actually gonna be pretty personal to me. So, I make it no secret onto this channel that I am a huge Melanie Martinez fan. I have loved Melanie since, I believe, the K-12 era, all the way to today with Portals, and Melanie has been my most requested artist that I have ever wanted to see in Just Dance, so I was so excited to see that Playdate was in Just Dance 2025. It's my favorite map in that game. It still is. But I figured I had to still include Melanie in this video the moment I decided to make a video about all of this stuff. Because if I talk all of this shit towards all these other artists and ignore Melanie thinking that she didn't do anything wrong, I'd be lying to myself. I'll admit it. Because my thoughts on Melanie throughout these past few years have definitely changed, especially recently. So yeah, let's get into it. And honestly, I could start with the small stuff because the bigger one we'll get to. We could talk about everything else that Melanie got in trouble for. We could talk about the coloring book that resurfaced this year because parents complained that the illustrations are way too inappropriate for children. I'm not kidding, literally, what the fuck is this? Or we could talk about the most recent controversy Melanie got into. She broke up with her recent boyfriend and is now dating someone new. I'm not lying, a lot of fans really got upset for that piece of information. It happened weeks ago, and that Reddit page was so crazy. If you want chaos, go to the Melanie Martinez Reddit page. Chaos happens whenever Melanie gets into trouble. But no, those are not the primary reasons why people don't like Melanie and why she's on the list. The real reason that Melanie is on this list and why it's important to talk about what happened is the sexual assault allegations. And yeah, this is where we're getting even more serious here. So in late 2017, during the height of the Me Too movement, a former friend of Melanie named Timothy Heller went onto Twitter and made the very serious allegation that during a sleepover, Melanie had allegedly sexually assaulted Timothy and raped her. So when I first heard about that allegation back then, years ago, I was under the impression that Timothy lied about everything. Fans would always mention to me saying, "Oh, don't worry, Timothy lied. She admitted to lying." There was even an Instagram story of her admitting, and I put quotes on that because we'll get to that in a bit, of her admitting that she lied about all of this and that she ended up making it all up because she was jealous of Melanie's fame. And we're gonna get to the Instagram story in a bit, but I believed all of that. I believed everything at the time. I even believed Melanie's statement, which, again, we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, I believed all of that at the time. And so, looking back years later, with Timothy coming back to TikTok and social media, she went to TikTok and talked again, this time speaking her truth once again, admitting that all of this, she never lied about anything. That Instagram story that I just mentioned, She didn't even make it. A fan photoshopped a fake Instagram story, making it look like Timothy actually lied, except she didn't. That was just a fan at making this post to make it look like she lied because they just couldn't handle the idea that Melanie would R-word anyone.
If you're familiar with my story, you may have also heard that I admitted to lying, and I can assure you that never happened. There were photoshopped images spread around of a confession that never happened because I have nothing to confess. I never lied. You may have also heard that I accused other celebrities of this, which I can promise you never happened either.
Which baffles me, by the way, because in Melanie's response, where she said the infamous line, she never said no to what we chose to do together, basically is her admitting that they did sleep together. They did sleep together, but that's not the issue. The issue is whether or not it was consensual. Melanie says it was. Timothy says it wasn't. So really, it's just up to decide who you believe. Regardless of who you believe, or if you believe that Timothy is lying and you're siding with Melanie, or if you do believe Timothy and you're gonna believe that Melanie's lying, regardless of who you believe, please don't go and harass anyone, especially Timothy. It is very clear on that TikTok video that she has went through so much hell, all for speaking her truth and her side of the story. And so, regardless of if you believe her story or not, do not go and harass her. It is very clear she's gone through a lot with being doxxed, her family being harassed, herself being harassed, her music career being sabotaged. Please, it is really good to just leave her alone and just let her live her life, okay? It is very clear that she wants people to just move on from all of this and just want people to help her at least rewrite what really happened. So regardless of who you believe, leave them both alone until Melanie speaks out about all of this, or if Timothy is willing to give us any more information or any updates of all of this. But regardless of who you believe, please leave them both alone. And I think that's all I gotta say on that matter.
Some consent, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Need some practice, if you know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah. For the record, I don't need consent, if you know what I mean.
Hi, it's Editing BB here. Literally recording this the day I'm supposed to upload this video, which I'm probably now gonna delay it for tomorrow to get all of this out of the way. But originally this section had well over 10 minutes of audio footage of just me yelling at Black Griffin, because I'll let this be known, I fucking hate Black Griffin. I fucking hate him. There, I said it. I hate him as a person. I've always hated him. I've always figured that there was something sketchy about this guy the moment I heard about his relationship with Claire Corlett. And I don't even follow the Brony fan base. I wasn't into My Little Pony. I didn't get into the Brony fans or anything. But even then, I still knew about Black Griffin because that fucker was everywhere on YouTube for a moment. Whether it was the Maybe I'll Be Tracer, I'm Already Tracer, or the other songs that he sang for other fan bases, like the Living Tombstone fans, or for stuff for Has Been Hotel, which I'm not gonna get into that because I'm not that into that show or anything. But it's not important. That's not important right now. And so I figured I'm just gonna, be fair and talk about what I didn't bring up in the original video, which is the additional information that has been brought up against Black Griffin. So if you do not know, for the past over a year now, there has been a Twitter account by the name BronyFanDon't who has made the very serious accusation that Gabriel had allegedly groomed his wife Claire, because by the time that he met Claire, she was 13 years old and he was 23. Now, remember earlier when I said that I'm gonna use the word allegedly quite a lot in some chapters or certain chapters or anything? Remember earlier when I said it's gonna be annoying? This is that chapter. This is that chapter where I'm gonna use that word a lot, because these two are so threatening to sue people, whoever is willing to bring this up. So I'm choosing to be careful. So I'm going to say this word a lot because, again, I'm 20 years old. I don't want to get sued. I'm just now starting to feel better. So I'm not risking a lawsuit, okay? I'm not risking anything. I'm just playing it safe, but I still hate this motherfucker. I will let that be known. So yeah, as I said before, for the past year, Gabriel has been well under fire because he had allegedly groomed his wife, Claire, because the two had been known to have an age gap of like 9 years, and he met Claire when she was at least like 13 years old. And if she was 13 years old by the time that they met, he would have been either 22 or 23. Despite that, he was a grown man in his 20s hanging out with a teenage girl. And the moment that she turned 20, they started a relationship and they're now married. So Gabe and Claire had been very defensive towards the age gap thing, saying that it's not really grooming because they didn't date when they met. They actually were just good friends at first. And once Claire became an adult, she had a huge crush on Gabe and she kept asking him out, but Gabe has been very reluctant, you know, that type of stuff, until he gave in. And then they realized that they really like each other, and then they continued dating, and now they're married, you know? It's not really grooming because Claire asked him out and they began dating when she was an adult. Okay, now listen. Now, sure, they could go on the defense that they didn't date when he met her, and that, you know, just because she was an adult, it's okay. Fine, we'll go on that defense. I'm sorry. I can't though, because it's so fucking weird to me that this man, who is a grown-ass adult in his 20s, hanging out with a 13-year-old girl. It's not even just her. There was another teenage girl, Michelle, you know, two best friends. They were both like My Little Pony voice actors. They've done videos together. They've done Pilates videos together. They've done a lot. And not only that, but just because he wasn't dating either of these two, he is still entertaining the idea towards his audience that, hey, just because we're not dating, you never know. In his comments section, I'm sorry, you're still fucking weird for doing that. It's so... I'm gonna calm myself down. I'm literally doing what I did in my original audio clip. I'm sorry. I really fucking hate this guy. I'm so happy that all of this is being brought to light now. I'm so happy he's getting exposed for being the weirdo he is. But I gotta be careful, okay? Because Claire and Michelle have been very vocal about being defensive towards Gabe. I just want more attention to be on this situation. I want more people to talk about this, because the fact that this man has just been getting off scot-free for years of marrying the woman that he knew when she was a teenager is just so baffling to me. And the fact that there are people online who are choosing to defend this man, like very notably Saberspark, a guy who famously decided to cut ties with Cosmodor, another YouTuber who had been accused of pretty much the exact same thing that Gabriel did. But so the fact that Saberspark and like the Billy Bust Up team, the fact that there are people who are defending this guy is baffling to me. And keep in mind, all of this, that's not even all that happened with Black Griffin. There has been 2 victims on Twitter who came forward. One, unfortunately, had to delete a series of tweets because they have been threatened by silence, because they have been threatened to be sued, and by Claire and Gabe, allegedly. So it sucks. I feel so awful for this person. But the second victim, thankfully, has shared evidence, which is thankful. I will link that in the description too, in case you are curious. But basically, Gabe has been messaging this person, the second victim, on Snapchat, which he has said before he has a Snapchat, or at least had a Snapchat. So that proves the point that this is his account. So that we got evidence there. So good for that person. You know something, despite this whole time that I'm just recording this whole section, I just remembered this is supposed to be a section where I talk about what songs that they have in Just Dance, and I have not at one point mentioned what song Black Griffin has in Just Dance. He sings the silly Beep Beep I'm a Sheep song. You know, that one that has like Asta Movie by Tomska, you know, that silly map? He sings the song. So yeah, now that map is ruined for me, and I don't ever want to play this at all. So yeah, that's basically all I will just say on the matter. If you're interested, I will link a couple things down in the description if you're curious. I will link the document in the description below if you want to take a look, as well as a couple videos that talk about the whole incident. So yeah, that's basically all I will say on this subject. And also, fuck Black Griffin, he sucks. And yeah, I'm basically just gonna end it here. So yeah, sorry if this video ended up being a downer, but I figured it's very important to address all of this because one, not many people are that aware of what happened to some of these artists who are in Just Dance, because whenever I hear people say, oh, you know, it's great, but unfortunately this song from this artist is here, and they're like, what did they do? And so I was like, this is what they did, or what they allegedly did. Sorry, Gabe. I was like, just not being careful. So yeah, I'm so sorry if this ended up being a downer of a video, but it's important for people to talk about these things, so that is what's going on. It's also kind of my way into stepping into more of a commentary vibe in terms of this channel, because look, I'm slowly but surely wanting to expand my content into other stuff that isn't only Just Dance. I don't want to only associate myself for just being the silly simulator Just Dance channel. So if I'm gonna be serious, I will gladly be serious, because it's important to have these things be addressed, because yeah, it's just important to get the word out there for this stuff. So yeah, that's about it for this video. I'm gonna go back to bed because again, despite me feeling slightly better, I'm still feeling pretty bad, so I'm gonna go back to bed and probably finish editing the next day. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I'll see you guys in my next video, hopefully feeling better. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to bed now. See you guys in my next video. Goodbye.